First of all, just how are you feeling after rewatching the episode last night?
I feel good actually. Like, yeah, when I watched it last night, obviously all those emotions came back, and reliving those experiences was hard at some points. But yeah, I mean, today is a new day and a new day in the workroom, and yeah, no, I'm proud of what I presented and what I put up there, and I'm just honored to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And something that I thought was really nice, I had a look through Twitter and stuff today just to see reactions, and everyone seems to genuinely be really sad to see you go. I didn't, often you'll see Twitter's a mixed bag of reactions when it comes to Drag Race, let's just say that. I really felt like everyone was quite unanimous in thinking that it was a real shame. How have you found the reaction in the last sort of, I don't know how many hours, 12 hours, 15 hours?
I know, I know, crazy. Exactly the same. Like, my DMs, my messages, WhatsApp, like everything has just been like, yeah, full of love, and yeah, so many people like absolutely gutted that I'm now no longer going to be on their screens. But never say never. Who knows?
Never say
um,
never.
but yeah, and that's lovely. It's very humbling as well to like to feel that and to know that I've obviously connected with all of those people.
If you don't mind me saying, I think the only reason you were in the bottom, from my perspective as a viewer, was because there had to be someone in the bottom. I think this was a challenge where there wasn't a clear, person or people that did a bad job. I think everyone actually did really, really well. And then when it came to the runway, like even the judges acknowledged that you had one of the best looks up there. And even the guest judge acknowledged it was the one that was most on theme. So with all of that in mind, how did you feel about your bottom placement, given that it was kind of a mixed bag this week in terms of who it could have been?
I don't know if I can actually tell you the words that were going through my head. um, but when Rue said like it's my time to battle, like I kind of instinctively thought, okay, Rue obviously wants me to kind of like step it up. So now's going to be the time that I have to step it up. Do I like look back and think, oh, I should have been a bit louder and everything else? No, because that's not the person I am. I want to be the authentic person I am. And I think also it's good to see that on TV. Like, you need different types of people represented. So hey, I went too soon though.
We
That's a
can all agree,
fact.
we can all agree on that one. But something that I know I would have been scared of is going against Kiki in a lip sync because I don't know how well
God
you.
no, I
Yeah.
wasn't scared of her.
Oh, you weren't really? Okay.
No.
Because I've known Kiki from the scene because she's they're very prominent in sort of the London scene, have been for a few years, and what I know Kiki as is just like a someone that goes to these venues is a lip syncer. Was that something then that was on your mind at all, or it sounds like not really?
No, to be honest, no, because like I've been a performer and a dancer all my life. Yes, I was maybe thinking, okay, I don't have the age that she has, so I've, but equally, and also I don't, I can still jump into splits and do all of that, but I don't necessarily do that all the time. And so I just, went out there to interpret the song my way. And I think, all of the girls were just kind of super excited that we were up against each other because they just wanted to show.
I honestly was really, really impressed. I thought it was a very evenly matched lip sync once it actually began. But in terms of lip sync song, is there a song you would have loved to have had, or was this maybe like your dream anthem to do?
Um, I actually like the Kylie song that was on like the episode prior. Like, because I do that one all the time. So I was like, no, this song, girl. Why am I not up there doing this song? So yeah, I was a bit gutted for that. And also that would have been for the win, right?
Yeah.
Um, but actually it was an honor actually to perform that song in front of Simon Le Bon, somebody that I grew up listening to, and yeah, it just, and also from their comments of how I presented on the runway, it was just like, okay, let's do this.
Something that you discussed in the episode that you've been keeping to yourself was obviously that this was a tough week for you in general in the competition because of the anniversary of your mum's passing, which was really actually nice to see how your fellow competitors reacted to that. Because obviously it got to a heated place, but I think as soon as you shared that, everyone really from what I seemed as a viewer, became really, really supportive. What has it been like for you to be able to showcase your drag and celebrate her memory? Because as you said on the show, she didn't get to see you in drag, but I'm sure this is something that she'd be incredibly proud of.
Yeah, like, like in my hometown runway, like some of her ashes were in the pendant I wore. So like, yeah, it was just nice to kind of have that moment. She's never gonna meet Dita, unfortunately, but she's still my mother and she's always gonna be my mother. Yeah, and it was lovely actually in the like, yes, I was feeling all those feelings and the girls were, super supportive as soon as they knew. But it was something like the funny thing is, so like when Chanel came over and Lavoie was like, maybe Chanel's not the right person. Actually, she was the correct person because she was the only person that I'd spoken to the night before. So she was the only person that actually knew what was happening and what was going through my head. So she was absolutely like the perfect person to come over and just talk to me. So
Mm.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, and I also didn't want to put that on all of the other girls. Like, it's not fair. It's a competition. We're all in a competition together. And if you've got something personal that's happening to you, you don't need other people to kind of not feel sorry for you, but like use that in a way that they might, you know, be a bit softer with you or whatever. Like, yeah.
No, I definitely hear you, but I think something that it at least was positive of being able to share that was that it did seem that no one did do it in sort of no one did take it in a bad way or did treat you differently. It
Yeah,
just
yeah,
everyone was very embracing, which I hope you felt. And something else that I think has been really amazing for you this season is, and actually this season in general, is I think this season's got a really lot of authentic representation. I know we all talk about representation and what that means, but I think from this season, we've seen discussions of like Asian representation, what it's like to be an older performer in drag. And obviously on this episode, you and Kiki spoke very openly about being non-binary and what that's been like for you as someone later in life who's maybe come to terms with that. What would be your message to viewers who are maybe in a similar position you were a few years back, where maybe you were still questioning and coming to terms with yourself a little bit, who are currently in that headspace watching?
yeah. So for me, I've got a very supportive partner, and we had just kind of got together not long before I allowed myself to kind of understand myself a bit better. So I've been in a really loving, supporting relationship, which always helps. But what I would say to people is, if you have got something, do talk to somebody. And that could be anybody. It could be a work colleague. It could be, you know, sister-in-law, like it could be your best friend, it could be anybody, but talk to somebody, because as soon as you say it out loud, you allow yourself, like, it's a release. Do you know what I mean? It just allows you to kind of accept it yourself and not bottle it up. And there are non-binary people of all ages, and so to actually be able to represent and show that it's not just a younger generation thing, like we are here. um yeah, it was great to be able to do that. And also that was such a special moment with Kiki. Like, that's when we really bonded as sisters.
I think something that you touched on the show, which is that unfortunately a lot of the discourse at the moment is quite, I think toxic is probably the best word for it. And a lot of it focuses on the younger generation and the fact that this is a, quote unquote phase, and this is the kind of language that's being used at the moment. I guess on the opposite end of the spectrum to what I just asked you, what would your message be to the people watching who maybe aren't as understanding of these identities and the fact they do exist to people of all ages and have these views?
I would talk to them like I do the nursery children when I teach them, because, children should be allowed to play with dolls, with bricks, with building things, with dragons, we learn so much from that. Like, boys learn to nurture if they're looking after a doll, and dads need to be able to nurture their children. So I think what I would say to people that maybe don't understand it is just allow yourself to realize that gender and the way things are gendered is just because we have gendered them. Like, You don't go up to a dog and go, "Oh, is that a boy dog or a girl dog?" Do you know it is? And equally, like in public bathrooms, like we all go. If you go on a plane or a train, or if you invite somebody back to your own home, 9 times out of 10, you haven't got a separate bathroom for that person to go to. We all use the same toilet. So, what is the big deal about, I do understand sometimes it's safe spaces for people, but the, the silly thing is, like, this is in our lives and we see it all the time. It's just that it's been focused on that you don't do this or you don't do
Mhm.
that. It's just, yeah, it's just crazy. So, yeah, I just speak to them like I do the children.
Well, speaking of the children, obviously before the show and still now, you've worked a lot with younger people, including children. Do you have any plans on kind of now that the show is over, and also just with the platform you've amassed as a drag performer even before the show, do you have any plans to kind of expand your work in educating people in sort of this field in particular?
My God, I'd love to. Like, that is the thing. Like, this being on something like Drag Race does give you a platform, and if I resonate with people and I talk about things that people in a way that people can understand, then of course that's what I want to continue doing. And just to make, I'm going to continue fighting for LGBTQ plus rights until every single person is a human being. We should all have the same rights, and equally, we should all just not judge each other so much. Like, let's drop the judging, shall we?
That
If
would
we
be
dropped the
nice,
judging,
wouldn't it?
I'd still be on the competition, wouldn't I? If we didn't have judging.
No, I definitely hear you though. I think, and it's really nice because a lot of people that have done things like Drag Race have gone on to do really, really meaningful work in sort of these kinds of I was about to say specters. What word am I looking for? Areas. I don't know. In these kind of areas. And so it's really amazing to hear. And let's talk a little bit about the challenge though. So you were on the 40 funerals on a wedding team, based kind of on a Bridget Jones type of character. Now, something that I have to say I was very disappointed in was the fact it had been a very long time since you'd seen Bridget Jones. Are you excited for the sequel next year? No, I'm only kidding. But
Yeah, can't wait, can't wait.
all right. What were your sort of thoughts on that character when you got them and you were in the workroom kind of practicing and getting into it? How did you feel about it?
I mean, I felt okay with it. I think I was very much in my head because I knew like what was coming the next day, and I kind of, I guess, now in hindsight, let that kind of take over. Um, and so I probably didn't focus myself, or I just went along, and maybe I should have asked the other girls a few more questions, or but it is what it is, right? So, and I don't think it was that bad.
I actually really enjoyed your character. I got, and I could only speak as one person.
Oh, bollocks.
I didn't understand the bottom placement. I truly didn't. But like, I know we're not here to get into that. But it's, I found your character really funny, like when you were crying in the church and stuff like that. But it's the way the cards are dealt, isn't it? And life goes on. But how did you feel after you watched it back for the first time on stage? Were you happy? Like, were you disappointed in yourself? Like, what was your sort of overwhelming thought?
I mean, it's one of the weaker bows to my string, shall we say? Uh, so I was being very judgmental of myself on that, um, and then obviously that just kind of gets in your head, and then that's all that keeps going around. But like watching it last night, I actually, having time away from filming and then just like
Mm.
watching it back last night, I was like, well, actually, it wasn't maybe as bad as I thought it was, and I think actually the judges are finding it difficult, and they are having to like split hairs, and we're in episode like it was episode 3. Do you know what I mean? So it's because we've got such a talented group of girls this year.
100%. And I think something that even when we did the interviews pre-season that really stood out to me was that all of you are so, so different and have such a different, unique set of skills and things you're presenting. When you did get to the workroom on day one, did that strike you immediately as well? Or was that something that you were kind of like it took a minute to suss out where everyone was really going to be good at?
Yeah, no, it took a while because like I knew of a couple of the girls, but I didn't know all of them. So it's also kind of just understanding them and where they come from and what their different skill sets, and until you start doing those skill sets in different situations like sewing challenges or dance routines or songwriting or comedy or acting, yeah, until you start to see that, like but equally, like the girls, so many of us have got like skills across the board.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it is good because we are all very unique in what we do and we're all very different. But equally, that's great TV because it allows people to resonate with somebody, or
Yeah.
and I just felt love from last night. So I guess I resonated with a lot of people.
And something that I'm really sad about with you going as soon as you did is we didn't get to see a lot of the, I'm sure, amazing runways that you had planned. How would you sum up the looks? I know we can't talk about sort of what the themes were, but how would you sum up the looks that you didn't get to present?
Incredible, breathtaking, surreal, iconic. Um, I think like we all talked about this like before the episode started. Like it is a fashion season, and like all of us bring looks. So I'm on socials, so come and follow me on the socials, and you'll see all of those looks. Don't you worry.
Oh, wait. And something else that we're not going to get to see from you is Snatch Game. Do you know who you were going to play?
I do.
Are
Would
you
you like
revealing this? I would like to know.
to? No, I will reveal it because again, it's going to be released on my socials, and when it does, it's going to be iconic. So I was going to be the Tooth Fairy, but a wretched Tooth Fairy.
It's reminding me of when I don't know if you watched the US one when Trinity did the Devil.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah, yeah.
that kind of what you were going for? Something in that realm of just like really camping it up and making it really extra.
Wow, yeah, she's camp, she's wretched, she's disgusting, like she's got teeth coming out of her cheeks, like yeah, she's yeah, and it's nice to do characters like that. That's what I enjoy about drag as well, is that like, we get to play around and do different things, and especially on a show like RuPaul's Drag Race, like where else are you going to get given a list of different ways to like present yourself? So
Mm.
yeah, it's fun. Like, but yeah, look out for the Tooth Fairy.
Okay, and before I ask you the last thing, something that I've just remembered, I think I said this to you the other night when I met you in real life, but I'm
That
gonna
was gorgeous.
oh yeah, I mean that goes without saying, there's no words for that. But you really sound like Ella Day. I don't know, you have like this essence about you that's so similar to Ella, but it's also you speak in like this. I don't know if I'm delusional, but I'm just saying that's not even a question. I'm just putting it out there just so you can see if anyone else says it.
Oh, well, Ella's a good friend of mine actually, so it's kind of funny as well. And like she was at the awards ceremony the other day
Yeah,
as well. So like, yeah, and it's like it's not like it's nice to kind of be compared to her because she is such a great queen.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if she wants to be compared to me, who knows? But she is now. But maybe we'll do something iconic together. Who knows?
Right. So the last question is just, what's next for Dita now? Now that the show's over for you.
Oh, a nice cup of tea and my slippers on. No, what's so I would love to like be able to continue like breaking down boundaries, talking about gender stereotypes, all of the rest of it. It's something that I'm passionate about. So I would love to be able to, go forward and continue to do that work. Equally, I'm a performer, so like I put on shows, and I'd like to, take my shows around the country, use my sisters in my shows, but also big up other talented performers within the drag industry that haven't had a platform yet.
Mm,
Um, because there are so many talented kings, queens, in betweens, So yeah, just all of the above.
love that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me, and congratulations on an amazing season. And sorry to see you go
Thank
soon
you. I
again.
know, I know. But one last thing before we go. Have you been playing the Dita track?
I have been. I think it's really fun. The thing is, I do really enjoy yours. It's a very good like getting ready song. But no, it is camp. And no, if a song is good, it goes on the running playlist, and yours made it. Don't you worry. But either way,
Yay. I want to see a video now of you running to Dita.
coming to my channels next week. Don't you worry. But no, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been so lovely
Oh,
with you, and good luck with everything that's next.